I'm not going to go ahead and say more.
Welcome to the most realistic NFL simulation ever. It begins with next-gen player movement powered by NFL next-gen stats. RFID tags in NFL players' shoulder pads chart their every move within inches. And this information now drives all animation in Madden, delivering unique acceleration rates, directional changes, and movement for all players on the field. You'll feel the explosion of Michael Thomas in and out of his breaks, the elite acceleration and blow-by ability of Henry Ruggs, and the raw athleticism of Dalvin Cook, feeling dangerous on every touch. Defensively, players will move and position themselves based on their next-gen stats data. Elite defenders will react authentically to make plays on the ball and take unique angles when chasing down ball carriers. Next-gen player movement delivers realistic and smooth simulation gameplay based on actual NFL player data. Thanks to next-gen stats,
I don't know about that.
Experience this in Madden.
It looks good. It looks
Throughout
good.
Each game, key moments trigger next-gen stats replays, giving you an analytical breakdown of the play. Over 15 specific data points tracked on every down give you the information you need to make strategic decisions and optimize your gameplay.
It kind of looks the same though. I like it. I like that they didn't change it too much.
Intuitive and accessible. You can easily call plays to get the ball in the hands of your star
Let me
players.
move this for y'all, chat. Hold up. Let me move this. Let me make this smaller.
And save your favorite plays to find quickly when the perfect moment arrives.
That way y'all can see everything.
The next generation of Madden is here, and it's never felt so real. Feel game day in Madden NFL 21.
Great
Let's
stuff.
see what they got to say. Let's see what they got to say.
Excited today to have the opportunity to go ahead and talk to you guys about next gen gameplay and stats. Before I do anything, before I dig into anything, will have some gridiron notes after the stream, and it may be already up there that talks a little bit about this stuff. Before I continue, I definitely want to give a shout out to Mole for his support in getting me some screens.
I feel like that wasn't enough though, chat.
And Clint.
I feel like it was just like a small little teaser, man. Oh yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys head over to the Twitch. It's twitch.tv/DG the Chef. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel where we're bringing you your favorite Madden content. All right, let's get back into this new gen stuff.
Notes, and I'm going to go ahead and show you some of those clips. But Clint and Connor did a phenomenal job. I do want to highlight that it is a press event. So, you know, when Clint comes on stream, it's a very different kind of vibe from Clint.
It's
a
business.
Press event, so you're talking to a very different kind of audience.
It's business.
So I just want to highlight that there as well as Connor. It's a very different atmosphere. I would be like just completely nervous to say anything to anybody about our game. But they did a phenomenal job to go ahead and capture the essence of what's going on with next gen gameplay as well as next gen stats and all that kind of great stuff. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the article real quick here. We're going to go ahead and talk about these things. I also want to give a huge
next gen
shout
stats
out,
deep
to
dive.
Jackie
Let's do
for
this.
Getting us those next gen logos that you guys might see in some of the screenshots. Not just that, but Not Gibbs did a phenomenal job. I cannot.
I'm trying to figure out where to put my
getting these
face
gridiron notes
for you guys so we don't miss
He
anything.
worked with Clint.
We're trying not to
Connor
miss
to go ahead
anything.
and get the meat of these articles. So really do appreciate everything that you've done, Not Gibbs. Great to have you on the team. So again, welcome to the first Gridiron Notes for Madden NFL 21 on Next Gen. We're excited to finally reveal the next generation of Madden NFL on Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S and PlayStation 5. Today we'll want to take a deep
so no
dive
PC
into
update.
next-gen player movement and the integration of NFL next-gen stats into Madden's gameplay. This new innovation and technology is now going to be the foundation for most athletic player movement ever in Madden NFL.
So
I think
it
that's
sounds
the
like they're
key thing I
changing
wanna
the physics
highlight right
engine
here
on it.
is that
That's what it
this is
sounds
the
like.
Beginning of something new. I think I've had an opportunity to talk with Clint and a lot of other people. They are
We all
setting
know
the
what that
foundation
means. We're all
of how this game is
afraid.
gonna go ahead and
Something
perform
new?
from
That's scary.
a real NFL simulation football experience using these stats, using all this kind of stuff. So it's really exciting, but it is the foundation of everything that we're about to see today. So let's go ahead and start with how you can expect next-gen stats to completely change the feel of gameplay. So, you know,
What
for
is a
me,
next-gen
when I
stat?
was kind of paying a lot of attention to this, you know, next-gen stats, a lot of people kind of get it. Some people don't, you know, and I really want to go over this and kind of give some context.
RFID tags
Clint
placed
does a
on
phenomenal
players'
job
shoulder
in this
pads.
clip. But, you know, there's a hyperlink right there where it says next gen stats. If you click on that, it's going to take you
What?
to the
Why do we
NFL
care about
website.
that?
And there's just a ton of next gen stats, but a lot of people don't know how that is kind of manufactured or how people come up with that. There are folks in the stream that are probably super smart, know all that kind of stuff, which is awesome. But there's other people that may not know, so we want to give you some of that context.
So
NFL
RFID
player
is radio
tracking,
frequency
also known as
identification.
next-gen stats,
For
is
you guys
the
that don't know.
capture of real-time location data. Speed and acceleration for every player, every play on every inch of the field. Sensors throughout the stadium track RFID tags placed on players' shoulder pads, charting individual movements within inches in every NFL stadium. This information, this wealth of information, this wealth of data is going to be powering a lot of things that you're going to see in our gameplay in the future. So really excited about that.
Okay,
that being said, I'm going to go.
At least they explained that hopefully it changes how the game feels. I feel like I don't care. I don't care how fast my player is moving.
Tracking data of NFL players. Since 2015, NFL players have had RFID chips or radio frequency identification.
Oh, they're talking about for
in their shoulder
real
pads
players.
That is tracked by a set of cameras in every NFL stadium, allowing the NFL to collect real-time location, speed, and acceleration data for every player on their fields.
Bro.
Some of this data is provided to NFL teams to use for advanced analytics, game planning, scouting, and even player safety. And now this data is also provided to Madden NFL.
Bro,
in anticipation of the Gen 5 console launch, we've been working on integrating this data into Madden with the primary goal of delivering a gameplay experience that feels as close to authentic NFL
hold
football
up. Are we talking about real
and
good AI here?
Able to reveal how Madden is utilizing this awesome NFL data towards that goal.
So they're going to be using real NFL data, not game data, but real NFL data. Like when Mark Henry, not Mark Henry, when Derrick Henry actually ran 21 miles per hour, like that's going to actually mean something in the game, hopefully. That's kind of dope.
Equals next gen player movement. And we'll bring back Clint and Connor and those folks to talk a little bit
So
more.
it's no longer just somebody sitting behind a screen trying to make up
stats,
stuff. It's actually coming from real games.
Leveraging the
That's
power
dope.
of the NFL next gen stats, next gen player movement is fueled by real athlete data, route path, acceleration
I
rates,
hope that they do
allowing
this
the next
right.
generation
I can
of
only
Madden
hope
NFL
that they
to
do this
deliver the most
right.
realistic, authentic, and fluid player movement in franchise history. Now, when I read that, I was like, okay, sounds a little gimmicky, but I have seen the stuff, and it's actually pretty amazing. I will show you guys some graphics that Mole was able to go ahead and
should I put it over here? Hold on, let's move it over here.
How Madden performs today and how Madden will perform kind of in next-gen stats in the future. So feel the most elite athletes at every position move on the virtual fields like they do in the real world.
That means Tyreek Hill is going to be
expanding
fast
on the
as
player
crap,
archetypes
man.
introduced in Madden NFL 21
we're still
on the
doing
current gen.
archetypes.
They've added more animation content and nuance to each unique archetype
Ooh,
on next
agile
generation
small,
tech
agile
so that
tall,
they'll move and feel
bruiser
even more
quick.
differently on the sticks.
Ooh.
So unique player movement per archetype with each captured across multiple body types. Ball carrier, there's
Tight end
agile,
split.
agile small, agile tall, bruiser quick, bruiser heavy. You'll kind of feel these kind of things. Route runners, wide receiver, running back, tight end split up between agile,
That's a lot of
small,
data,
agile
man.
tall. We've talked
That's a
about
lot of
all these
data.
archetypes, so of course you're going to see some improvements here. Pass block improvement for offensive linemen. So before we go into next gen stats and route running, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip regarding next gen player movement. So hang tight. We'll go ahead and check this out right now.
All right, let's look at this chat.
So what are we doing with it? Next Gen Stats is going to power next gen player movement, utilizing this player data from hundreds of games and thousands of plays. The data feeds into our animation engine to recreate player movement when running, cutting, and changing direction, all performed at realistic speeds and acceleration rates for all 22 positions on the field. This next-gen player movement will enable the most elite NFL athletes to move on the virtual field, just like they do in the real world. Next-gen player movement improves gameplay in a variety of ways. Not only does the game look and feel more realistic, but it now plays at a pace more representative of real NFL football, allowing you to better see plays develop, and you'll feel players play differently from each other on both sides of the ball.
Man, I'm excited,
All right,
but I'm
so
scared at the
next up,
same
we're gonna go ahead
time.
and
It's
talk
crazy how
about
EA can do
next-gen
that.
stats and how it impacts route running. And again, huge shout out again to Clint and Connor for all their support and all the stuff that they disclosed during that press event. It was very enlightening. Let's go ahead and jump into this article real quick here with next-gen stats and
Keep
route
having to
running.
move my camera.
Right. So with next-gen stats,
Pick
route
one
running
location,
in Madden
DG.
NFL 21 has been completely overhauled. Receivers will run actual routes logged by next-gen stats, real NFL game data. I'll show you guys. We call them like ant
Man,
caps.
I don't
we also
know,
have, like,
bro. I don't
kind
know,
of images
man.
of how things look in game. They have like a lot of debug text. We've kind of stripped that out so you guys can see just simply how the routes are run. In addition to speed and acceleration rates, our animation engine is also leveraging player-specific routes from next-gen stats for individual receivers. For example, the path that Green Bay Packers wide receiver Davante Adams takes on a deep crossing route on a Sunday afternoon will be the same deep crossing route reflected by Adams in the Madden NFL gameplay. The result is a natural feeling, and it feels pretty fluid. So before, on previous gen, our receivers ran from one
because does that
specific
mean
point,
that
to another
everyone's
specific
gonna run
point at
routes
top
differently, which
speed.
is
So let me
the
go ahead and show you
truth.
these images. Again, huge shout out right here.
So that means if I run a slant, okay, look at this. You see the curve?
Which is represented by the yellow line. Our receivers ran from one specific point to another specific point at top speed all the time and made very similar cuts with very little difference between unique players, right? Now, after, what you're going to see is you see that green line. That green line is representative of what you're going to see in next gen. So on next gen, player ratings and archetypes will heavily impact the quality and the speed of
Who
each
drew
route,
these lines?
and they will be run as an entire
These
route
lines
from
are
start
horrible.
to finish, rather than each individual portion of a route on a previous gen. So I'm going to go ahead and play a couple of movie clips, not movie clips.
So what that means is that if I have a slant by like Stephon Diggs and Michael Thomas, they're going to be two completely different types of slants. So it's going to depend on the receiver and their speed, and that's going to be crazy. How do you do mutt?
Post route on the right hand side, as he goes up, you'll see that curve, right? It's not as angular, it's not as robotic, but I'll go ahead and let these video clips explain that right now.
Which is going to make it a lot harder for people to get open.
Previously, the goal of next-gen player movement
Look
is
at that.
to
Oh my
redefine
gosh.
authentic simulation football via next-gen Madden gameplay. There's
Ooh.
nothing more authentic than using
Adam,
real-world
look at Adam with the
NFL
stop
player
and
data
go.
to power our gameplay, and we're the only sports games that can do it. One of the
I don't know
many
about
areas
that.
where next-gen player movement really shines is with our route running. Here's a quick look at next-gen route running in action. And now I'm going to hand it off to our creative director, Connor. He's going to go deeper into the details about route running and all the other aspects of Madden's next-gen stats gameplay.
Route run is a big deal in
Connor.
NFL, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Clint. Let's get into it. So as Clint mentioned, and I really want to emphasize this point, the pace of the game is now much more realistic. It's smoother and it's representative of the real NFL experience. So as a player, I can see holes develop as a runner, make informed progression reads as a passer, and more effectively guide defensive players into position to make a play. And the pace of the game has changed for the better. Now let's talk about route running specifically. In addition to speed and acceleration rates, our animation engine is also leveraging player-specific route paths from next-gen stats for receivers.
That's actually insane.
In many
to me.
cases, elite receivers will run their actual routes tracked by next-gen stats real NFL game data. For example, the actual route that you would see from Green Bay Packers wide receiver Davante Adams on a deep crossing route on a Sunday will be the same route reflected by Adams in Madden NFL gameplay. And the result is natural feeling fluid routes with athletic nuance and player differentiation.
But how does that affect the corners?
All possible thanks to the incorporation of next-gen
Since nothing
stats,
is consistent.
which no other sports game has.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play another clip here with next-gen route running.
If you're giving the receivers the ability to run a whole bunch of different routes, I want to know how it affects the corners, because the corners aren't covering how they cover on Sunday.
Informed progression reads as a passer and more effectively guide defensive players into position to make a play. And the pace of the game has changed for the better. Now let's talk about route running specifically. In addition to speed and acceleration rates, our animation engine is also leveraging player-specific route paths from next-gen stats for receivers.
Okay.
In many cases, elite receivers will run their actual routes tracked by next-gen
We already
stats
saw this.
real NFL game
We already
data.
saw this,
For example,
Agent
the actual
K.
route that you would see from Green Bay Packers wide
Okay,
receiver
they
Davante
doubled up on
Adams
this. I'm going to talk
on a
over it. So look, I like where they're going, but I want it to apply to more than just receivers, right? I want my middle linebacker, if he's 6'2", with I would say 95 jump, I don't want his jump to be nerfed because he's a linebacker. I want him to be able to jump because he has 95 jump.
Current gen and next gen. As you can see on the left on current gen, our route running and movement was very robotic. Players accelerated instantaneously with multiple destinations existing on a single route. And that comes through in its robotic nature. And on the right, on next gen, we're using actual NFL player data from next gen stats. And
look how many steps he takes. That's beautiful. That's actually really
see
nice.
The difference in the quality of motion in terms of how receivers get off the line.
Like current gen, he moves like a robot. He just turns. Like you can't look at that. He just turns off of his inside foot. You can't do that in real life.
I know another question you guys are gonna have.
That was nice.
We'll go ahead and go through the article. Is how is this gonna go ahead and play a factor when it comes down to defense? So next gen player movement doesn't just benefit the offense.
That's the question. We've
also analyzed the next gen stats data for defensive players in terms of speed, facing direction, and acceleration. This data has allowed our animation engine to provide the appropriate
so defense didn't get an update. They just updated the engine
and strafing much more natural looking and athletic.
That's gonna hurt.
And I have a video right here that I'll go ahead and play that kind of discusses a little bit on how that will look.
So now let's talk about defense and how next gen player movement comes to life on the defensive side of the ball. We analyzed next gen stats data on defense looking at defensive player speed, facing, and acceleration. We then took this data and applied it to the selection of our defensive movement animations, and you'll notice strafing and backpedaling look so much more natural. We've also innovated in tackling. With new tech, we've made tackling more visually authentic and user-friendly.
I wonder about that. I can't wait to see tackling.
In coverage,
players
will react and close on plays more consistently and predictably.
That looked bad.
Defenders will move like their real-world counterparts during both on-ball plays and impact moments. And for tackling, we built new tackle prediction and anticipation
right there with Jalen Ramsey's shoulders and his that is how a DB kind of moves. It's close. It's real close.
This allows us to have much more tackle variety.
Look at that. That little
for the defender leading into the tackle and creates more visual fidelity and authentic interaction during impact moments. Also, using the rally prediction model makes it easier for gamers to get into position to match a tackle.
So that means if my DB has his back towards the ball and he's not looking, he should not be able to stop and knock the ball down like he can in current gen.
Here in the article, next gen stats powered replays. I'm going to want to play you a clip so you guys kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like. I don't know. I had a chance to go ahead and play this. I thought it was pretty cool. I was using Lamar Jackson. He threw a deep bomb to Marquise Brown.
So let's talk about next gen stats replays. So
imagine getting to play this early, man.
Player via replays after big plays. We're tracking next-gen stats data in-game from our virtual players to create dynamic, high-def cinematic replays.
I don't need to care about how fast my guy was running.
The biggest plays made by our virtual players. We track over 15 specific data points such as completed air distance, rushing distance, ball carrier speed, hustle tackles, and time to sack, to name a few. And what makes this cool is that we're highlighting some of your biggest plays through the lens of next-gen stats. As you can see in this example, players will get next-gen stats replays after big plays and exciting moments, just like you see on real NFL broadcasts. Not only are we using next-gen stats data from the real world, we're also collecting it for our virtual athletes during Madden gameplay to show off in these replays. And they're really cool when you actually get to pull one off.
Yeah.
And what you'll see here is that these are some of the primary next-gen stat replay triggers and the secondary ones. They'll be highlighted in the Gridiron Notes, so you guys can go ahead and check those out as the Gridiron Notes is released. Now, next-gen play calling is another thing, and then we'll jump into additional gameplay improvements. But I have a video clip here from Clint kind of walking through specifically the next-gen play calling and what's happening in this space. So I'll go ahead and play that for you guys real quick here.
All right, Chad, let's see this. Let's see how this looks.
Thank you, Connor. Yeah, so we're going to transition over to play call. For a proper foundation for our next-gen gameplay, we've also revamped our play calling experience.
There you go, that chief play.
Since we changed our play call, and frankly, it's been overdue.
There go that
beyond
wasp.
that, we felt that next-gen gameplay would not be complete without a new intuitive system here. Beyond just a reskin, we've delivered a variety of innovations to make play call more user-friendly. You can now call plays by individual players, bookmark your favorite plays to save for later, and see important game information like X factors and game goals, all in the new play call screen.
I like the bookmark. I like being able to bookmark.
These enhancements make the experience much easier for new players and more dynamic for Madden veterans. Let's take a look. So what we're going to show you, here's our new play call screen. The first thing we want to call out is the ability to easily call plays by player. This makes it easier to get the ball in the hands of your stars. For example, if you want to get the ball to McCaffrey or Tyreek Hill, select him in the player filter, and you'll get to choose from all the plays featuring him as the primary.
That looks kind of nice right there.
This filter also includes the view showing the X factors that each player is equipped with. Next is an option commonly requested by our community, which is the ability to save favorite plays. As this video loops through, you can see the little heart icon up in the upper right-hand corner.
Little heart
of each
icon.
Play
Little
on
hearts.
the Chiefs series.
Little tiny hearts.
That's representative of a play that has been bookmarked.
That wasn't a heart.
Via a simple double tap of the play icon. This will save your favorite plays to a special tab in your playbook so you can find them quickly when the perfect moment arises.
But does it save?
And your favorites will even be saved to your profile so that any persistent plays will still be there when switching your playbook for your next game.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Some great stuff all around regarding next-gen game, next-gen play calling right there. Huge shout out to Clint. When I saw this, I was very, very impressed. I see a lot of W's in the chat from you guys, specifically
a lot of dubs
regarding the next-gen play calling. So great stuff.
Yeah,
all
that's nice.
I really do appreciate Connor and kind of Clint giving a lot of that context during the event. Some great stuff there. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the additional gameplay improvements that we'll see regarding
Chat, hit that like and subscribe button.
I thought this was really important, and it is highlighted in the notes. So additional gameplay improvements, because next-gen player movement has had such a significant impact on the pace of play in Madden NFL 21. Here's some other gameplay improvements that come along with the next gameplay system. So pass lead, next-gen stats, and player movement open up the ability to lead receivers on deep routes more effectively. Run game, it's easier to read running lanes and find those satisfying cutback lanes. QB movement in and out of the pocket is smooth.
Man, I want to play now.
You also feel the differentiation in movement all over the field.
I want to play so bad now.
To mobile QBs, I definitely felt that. Head tracking, head movement is more realistic for receivers when running routes.
Put my pop filter on. Hold up, chat.
Of when and where they are looking, making them look more aware of on-the-field action. Tackling, we've already talked about tackling with the new rally tech. We've also improved gang tackles. Gang tackles will trigger more often with much more variety. We've also made improvements to tackle momentum, and it's now much more realistic with direction, weight, and speed of the player involved taken into account for tackle selection and post-tackle follow-through. And even defensive users can now interact with gang tackles. Improved pass rush timing. With the passing game moving at a more realistic speed, the pass rush has much more of an impact.
Are you telling me it's faster?
Relative
I can
to
rush
the timing
forward?
relationship between the QB drop back, the depth of the route, and the speed of the incoming pass rushers. I definitely felt that. Trust me, I got some next-gen moments of getting sacked.
Bro,
it was pretty
not
impressive.
having 75 years in the pocket is amazing.
On previous gen, you'll see it also on next gen. Faster load times powered by next gen generation tech can get you in the game quicker than ever. Never lose focus as stadium environments will load with unprecedented speed and time. Redesigned loading systems on next gen tech allowed us to maximize bandwidth and processing by utilizing the high-speed SSD and integrated graphics and whatnot on the next-gen consoles. So again, a lot of great stuff all around. I really do appreciate you guys kind of tuning in for this element. Now, the Gridiron Notes are going to go ahead and be
kind of excited
over at our Gridiron Notes
website. If you're telling me that they've addressed some of the things that we've been complaining about as a community, I am extremely excited. I'm so serious. I'm excited about this. Especially not having 17 years in the pocket, the fluidity of the player movement, so many things. I'm excited, man. Let me know down in the chat if you guys are excited about the new Madden and next gen Madden stats, man. I want to go buy a PS5 now. I want to play, but I know there's going to be some bugs as always, but it's to be expected. It's the first year on the new gen. But as always, it's been your boy DJ Chef. It's been love. It's always love. Make sure you let me know in the comments if you dig this. All right, guys, take care. I'll see y'all next time. Make sure you come to the Twitch. Peace.